So for most people, the fun part of designing a new school comes when you see the floor plan for the first time or you see a rendering that shows what the school might look like. But because I'm both an architect and an educational planner, a lot of the work that we do to really understand scheduling and operations and be able to give schools the most that they can for their investment really starts long before that. And it starts with us looking at basic educational planning concepts and using tools like classroom utilization to figure out what they really need. So when we look at classroom utilization, we can really look at it in two different ways. We can look at how many hours of the day or how many class periods of the day the room itself is being used versus sitting empty because that teacher might be in a prep period or doing some other duty. And then we can look at how many seats in that classroom out of its capacity are filled over the course of the day. And so we really look at those two numbers to make sure that we have the right number of classrooms and the right size of classrooms in terms of student capacity. One thing that's unique about high schools is that in most high schools, students are moving from room to room and teacher to teacher pretty much every period of the day. And that's really different than an elementary school where a student might spend almost their entire day in one room with one teacher. So you have this movement and this flexibility and change happening all day in high schools. But in a lot of high schools, teachers still kind of own their classroom where it is theirs for the whole course of the day, whether they're teaching that period or not. And so that can really start to impact space utilization. You know, the big intent behind having teachers have a common prep period where you might have a whole team across disciplines having the same planning period, or you might have a whole department, like an English department, having the same period, is so that they can collaborate. But that doesn't necessarily happen if they're each working at their own desk in their own classroom. So in addition to using utilization as a tool to look at space efficiency, it can also be a great way to really encourage that collaboration. It's not possible in a high school to ever really get to 100% utilization because there's going to be variations in class sizes, class levels, and just juggling the schedules of hundreds of students to be able to get them into the classes that they need. So no one's aiming for 100%. If we did that, the school wouldn't work. Most of the time, we aim for a high efficiency target of about 85% utilization, looking at how often the classes are used and how full the seats in each class can be based on their design capacity. One example where we really had a low utilization rate by right sizing the classrooms for student capacity, having the right number of classrooms to aim for an 85% utilization rate, and creating teacher workspace that would really work for the teachers outside of their classrooms, we were able to cut the number of core classrooms that they needed almost in half compared to what they had now. And at the scale of a large high school, that meant saving almost 20,000 square feet of classroom space. So then you can have a much more engaging discussion about what do we want to do with that? Do we want to be able to use that space to create more things like specialized labs and breakout spaces and other needs beyond core classrooms? Or do we want to be able to reduce the size of the school and find ways to then save money both on construction and on ongoing heating and cooling and cleaning and maintenance? So I think there's powerful ways that utilization can really help with efficiency in a way that can help schools meet their other goals for education or help them deal with a budget constraint while still getting everything that they need. And at the same time, by looking differently at how teachers work and how they plan and how they have professional development spaces, find ways to really encourage teaching staff to work together.